Hey, what's up, kiddos? Trowbro back with another drawing with Trowbro, and today we're going to be looking at how to draw one of the characters from the video game Among Us. Now, I've yet to play this, but I know all my students are, and they are drawing these all the time, so I thought we'd take some time, learn how to draw one of the characters, maybe one of their hats, one of their pets, and I think it's a lot of fun, and let's go ahead and get started drawing.
Here on my left side I have our Among Us character, and as you can see it is super simple, so I didn't even bother drawing all the different shapes that make up this Among Us character. I'm going to start drawing it from the top, and I think the best way to describe the shape of an Among Us character is a chicken nugget from McDonald's. That's right, I think a chicken nugget, draw a chicken nugget, and then all you have to do is draw some feet on the bottom, and then a jetpack. Remember, I've never actually played Among Us, so I think as a jetpack, I always thought it was an arm, but now that I see that he really doesn't have another arm, I think it's a jetpack, but I could be wrong. Maybe an air tank. Maybe it's a pressurized astronaut suit. I don't really know. I can't really guess. I've never seen it in action. So I got my chicken nugget shape, and now I'm going to start drawing his little his visor, the little glass thing that he's looking out of, oval shape. Super simple, and what you really should notice is that these lines are super thick. So like if you're using like a Sharpie, you could probably get a really thick Sharpie and just draw the line once, but since I'm using a pencil and it's super sharp and pointy, I'm gonna have to try to draw these shapes later. So as soon as I get both of his legs and his little bitty his backpack done, then I can kind of start finding the shapes that I see in my Among Us character. For instance, in his visor here, he's got a dark shadow right underneath here, and then there is a nice little reflection, a little highlight right there at the top. So we've got shadows, we've got highlights, has a little bit of depth. Even though this is a super simple drawing, there is some value that kind of indicates that this is a 3D object. Alright, so I'm going to go around and do all the little shadows that I see. Now I'm going to draw that thick black line as if it was a shape. So I'm thinking of two like parallel lines, and they kind of just follow each other. They're never meeting, and so I'm going and adding that thick black line as a shape. I'm going around all of his body, and I'm looking at the one on the left. I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting all these shapes and the thicknesses as correct as I can. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. I'm not measuring anything. I'm just kind of using my eyes and being like, okay, the purple goes here down on his leg, and then the black thing, that little black line goes in front of his other leg, kind of sticks out a little bit. I was like his pants right there, and then I'm trying to draw the little bends and stuff of his leg, and how his stomach kind of comes out a little forward. I'm trying to draw all these shapes that I'm seeing here on the left, but super simple. I don't know if you could mess it up. It's pretty easy. Alright, I almost have this outline done. I just got to get this visor done. Nice little oval shape, and then the top of his head, and then I have all the shapes that make up the simple Among Us character. I'm going to speed this part up really fast, but if you want to, alright, you can fast forward a little bit. I'm going to show how to draw a hat and one of the pets. So if you don't want to do that, you can go ahead and get your Sharpies out and start coloring your picture now, or you can kind of fast forward a little bit and then see how to draw a hat and a pet. It's really up to you, but all I'm going to do is go around right now and add just a little bit of value, try to get that thick black line down, and then I'm just going to add a little shading to get the shadows done so it looks just like the picture on the left. Now to add a hat, and my favorite one is probably the little post-it note that says dumb on it, and the best thing about it is obviously dumb is spelled wrong. There's usually a B at the end, and so just like my Among Us character, I'm going to start off with a simple shape. It's kind of like a rectangle that's kind of swaying. It's like the bottom part of the rectangle is kind of swinging to the right there, and so I'm going to treat this also like a shape. I'm going to do the outside of that big thick black outline, and then I'm going to go on the inside and try to make the same shape, but it's just a little bit smaller. Next, I'm going to get out my eraser and clear out the inside of my post-it note, and I'm also going to speed this up a little bit faster, and I'm going to color the outside of my post-it note with a black. Before I write dumb, I'm going to go ahead and color in the little shadow that's right at the top. Now, if you're just using pencil, I'm going to do, light gray, but if you're going to be using a color pencil or a crown, you want a darker yellow, maybe like a mustard color. A gris poupon, like a Dijon mustard. Now, writing letters in a shape is always difficult because sometimes you run out of room. So make sure you're drawing light so that if you feel like you messed up, you can still erase it and make sure that the letters can all fit in together So that's always something you got to be careful of. Letters are always a little tricky, so make sure you're just taking your time and drawing light. Alright, now that I got my favorite hat out of the way, I'm going to bring up the picture of my favorite pet. Well, I think it's a pet. It also could be a hat. I don't really know. I still haven't played the game, but I like the one that has the little Among Us character on it, just because I like when there's little things with big things, like a big guy and Rusty. Alright, and I'm kind of noticing that this one on the left is a little bit squattier, so I'm actually going to change the proportions of my drawing on the right, which is nice because, I'm in Photoshop and I can just kind of change that. If you're drawing on a piece of paper, you can't really do that, but that's okay. You can just have a skinny Among Us character. And so I'm going to start drawing my little guy. It's once again little chicken nugget shape, and then his feet are two little U's kind of just sticking out on the right. So they look like a U, but it's like tilted on its side. And so I'm just going to draw both little feet, and then his little backpack. Now, little guy's visor is much more round. It's like almost like a perfect little grape right there on the top. With the basic shapes out of the way, I'm now going to start adding that thick black line. Once again, I'm just treating this kind of like shapes. All right, that black line, even though it is a line, it is a shape because it is so thick. So I'm just going to kind of go around his feet and his body and his backpack and add that nice thick black line. If you're using a pencil, you're going to probably want to do this. Then you can use a Sharpie or a paintbrush to color it in black, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But if you want to really match that Among Us style, you got to have that thick black line. Now I'm going to add the little details that I see in his visor, a little highlight, and then a little shadow at the bottom. Super easy. And just like Big Daddy, I'm going to start shading this in. I'm going to speed this part up and get all those shadows in there. And remember, if you wanted to paint this, alright, you wouldn't be coloring in with your pencil, because then you would just be doing double work and the pencil would muddy up the paint or the markers. So if you're not using just a regular pencil and you plan on coloring it, think about that, how like the shadow's kind of a purple color and the regular part of his body is kind of like a pink color, so you can use like a purple crown and a pink crown and make it look just like the picture on the left. Now, because my picture on the left is a little bit squattier, I'm going to once again change the dimensions. I'm just going to transform this, make it a little bit wider, and match the one on the left. Now, if you're in Pixlr, you could do the same thing, but if you're drawing on paper, you cannot. So it's a little bit more challenging. But I hope you enjoyed drawing this Among Us character with me.
Well, guys, make sure that you keep practicing drawing. Stay tuned to my channel because we're always learning how to draw new things. And I'll see you next time on Drawing with Trowbro.